This is a
Okay.
special message for the Sprouts Senior Leadership Team. My name is Peggy Hall, and I'm from the healthyamerican.org, and I represent millions of healthy Americans that are reaching out to you to let you know that your store policies are violating established law. No store may make a policy that violates established law. That would be like saying at Sprouts, you can steal someone else's wallet if that wallet is left unintended. And the law enforcement cannot do anything because your store policy says that someone can steal someone else's wallet as long as it's in your store. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Well, it's just as ridiculous as you preventing individuals from shopping in your store because they are not wearing a mask. I'm going to share with you exactly why you and your management and your associates are actually violating law on many levels. So first, what I would like to do is to explain to you that your employees are not law enforcement officers. They do not have the legal authority to stop someone, to ask them if they are wearing a mask and why or why not. Also, they are not medical professionals, and they are not licensed to give medical advice, such as wearing a mask, which is a type of medical intervention. Finally, you are directing your employees to violate federal and state civil law. So you also are violating your own code of ethics. I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll take a look at your own code of ethics. So as I share, let's take a look here, shall we? Well, first of all, here you are. So this is really for you, Jack, as the Chief Executive Officer, and also Scott Neal, and Denise, and Gil, and Dan, and Dave, and especially Brandon. This really is important for you, Brandon, because you not only are the Chief of Human Resources, which means you probably had a hand in crafting the stores and Sprouts' non-discrimination policy, but you also are noted as the legal officer. So I know that this will be of great importance to you and everyone here on the senior leadership team. Why don't we take a look at your code of conduct and ethics? And on page 16, you have your public accommodation and non-discrimination paragraph here, which says that Sprouts is committed to providing a work environment in which every team member has the opportunity to grow, develop, and contribute fully to our collective success. Accordingly, we will not tolerate unlawful discrimination and harassment based on race, religion, color, creed, national origin, ancestry, ethnicity, age, sex, pregnancy, familial status, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, disability, marital status, citizenship, military and veteran status, or any other basis protected by applicable law. I am so glad you have this in writing, and I really applaud you and commend you for having this really spelled out clearly. And it also says that any conduct by team members resulting in a denial or refusal of the full and equal enjoyment of our stores or services, or conduct discouraging a reasonable customer from visiting our stores is prohibited. I would like to emphasize and amplify this statement that any conduct by team members resulting in a denial or refusal, this is very important, of the full and equal enjoyment of our stores and services. The reason why this is so important is because this language comes directly from the Federal Civil Rights Act. Many states also have language that mirrors the Federal Civil Rights Act, and it also states that no business establishment can deny any individual the the free and equal access of the facilities and the services, which means serving an individual who is not wearing a mask out on the corner or requiring them to do Instacart is not free and equal access. Some individuals do not have access to technology. It is not fair and equal that someone cannot go inside your store and browse and look for the new products and enjoy the shopping experience. We are calling on the Sprouts leadership to be a leader in the grocery field by offering special mask-free shopping hours or days. Much as you have done for seniors and disabled, there should be some hours that are set aside where patrons may be able to enjoy the free and equal access to the facilities and services in a mask-free environment. That means other patrons will not be wearing masks, and even those clerks who would prefer to work without wearing a mask would be free to do so. To deny this is actually, and making discriminatory policies against those who don't wear a mask is actually violating the law. So why don't we take a look at those laws that Sprouts is currently violating, shall we? We'll look here. And the first law I would like to take you to is Title II of the Civil Rights Act. And this is a federal law. This particularly prohibits you from discriminating against someone based on their religious beliefs. Many individuals do not wear a mask because it violates their religious beliefs. Further, you may not inquire as to what those religious beliefs are or even have a conversation about it. If someone expresses that they are entering your store without wearing a mask because of their religious beliefs, that basically ends the conversation. Further, let's take a look at the ADA, which actually comes from the US Department of Justice. Again, it's from the Civil Rights, and it is something called the Americans with Disabilities Act. Let's dive into this now. And it covers Title III, is related to public accommodations. That is the business that you are in at Sprouts. Public accommodations are private entities who own, lease to, or operate facilities such as restaurants, retail stores, hotels, movie theaters, private schools, convention centers, and so on and so forth. So you are prohibited from discriminating against individuals who are not wearing a mask based on their disability or medical condition. Public accommodations must comply. All right, that's the key phrase. Public accommodations such as Sprouts must comply. Now notice there is not an exception that says in case of an infectious disease, or unless the store sees fit otherwise, or in the case of a store making another policy. There are no exceptions. That's why this is civil law. And it's a federal law, and it says that you must comply with basic non-discrimination requirements that prohibit exclusion, segregation, and unequal treatment. Let's read that again. You must comply. There's no choice. It's not based on a policy. You may not create a store policy that violates established law. So you must comply with basic non-discrimination requirements that prohibit exclusion. And that's what you're doing now. You are excluding those members of the public who are not wearing a mask and who seek the full and equal facilities and services of your business establishment. You are excluding them, therefore you are violating federal civil law. Further, you are segregating the individuals and you are engaged in unequal treatment, not allowing someone into your store, further harassing them, which is another violation of law, which I'll get to in a moment, is something that your individual clerks will be personally liable for, and they will be sued for infringing on the individual's civil rights. And if they are harassing them, that will be another charge in the lawsuit. So the unequal treatment is not to be tolerated because you must comply according to law. Now, I am surprised that on your senior leadership team that the individual in charge of legal affairs has not brought this to your attention. Well, that's what I'm here for, is to just educate the team so that we can move forward and you can comply with the applicable laws as you've set out in your own non-discrimination paragraph in your code of ethics, which I applaud you for. So let me show you, every state has its own civil law, and I live in California. There are a lot of Sprouts in California that unfortunately are treating the customers with very unfortunate types, lacking in customer service. So here in California, you probably have heard of this Civil Code 51. If you haven't heard of it, you probably will, because all of the healthy Americans in California are well versed on California Civil Code 51. In fact, many of them will bring an information card to help educate you and your clerks and your managers and your district managers as to what violation your store, as to what law your store is violating. And that is California Civil Code 51. It's written very clearly, and it says that, in fact, this was, here we go. All persons within the jurisdiction of this state are free and equal. That's so beautiful. We are equal, regardless of wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, regardless of the sex, race, color, religion. A reminder that many individuals do not wear a mask because it violates their religious beliefs. And we have a law right here that I'm showing you that protects that those religious beliefs without exception. There is no exception. That's why the law exists. Now, it also says that you may not, that each individual is free and equal no matter their ancestry, their national origin, their disability, or their medical condition. These are the applicable factors here in our conversation. And it says that these individuals are entitled to full and equal accommodations. So full means that people who are not wearing a mask can go into your store and shop legally, lawfully, and without discrimination, as protected by law, by civil law. It also says that all persons are free and equal, and we are entitled to the full and equal advantages, facilities. So standing on the street corner and having your groceries delivered, or having someone else shop for your groceries, which is also very curious, because if we are supposed to be practicing high levels of hygiene, why would it make sense that someone else's hands would be touching these groceries and fruits and vegetables and all of that? That's just another observation. But according to the law, each person within the state, and we're speaking of California, and it's the same in every state is protected by civil law rights. We have the full and equal. We are entitled to the full and equal accommodations, advantages, facilities, privileges, or services. And here, I'll just point it out very carefully and clearly, in all business establishments of every kind whatsoever. So in all business establishments, including grocery stores, including Sprouts, of every kind whatsoever. There is no exception to this law. There is no executive order that suspends this law. There is no state of emergency that suspends this law. There is no Sprouts store policy that suspends this law. Now, I understand in these troubling times that Sprouts is committed to a safe, to providing a safe workplace and a safe environment for its patrons, which is why it makes sense for Sprouts to be a leader in the grocery business by offering, with cheerful customer service, and a welcoming environment by offering a mask-free shopping experience. That might be a few hours during the day. It might be special days of the week, much like many retailers offer for senior citizens, for example, or those with disabilities. This would solve so many issues on so many levels. Those patrons who want to wear a mask, they would have their opportunity to shop with other shoppers who wear a mask. They would not feel threatened or anxious, or they would not want to stay away from those who are not wearing a mask. So those hours could be allotted for those wearing a mask. Or you could allow the mask-free shoppers in, and then those who want to wear a mask could be served on the street corner, or they could do Instacart. And then that way they wouldn't need to go into the store with so many other individuals, and that may make them feel more comfortable and safe. The other advantage is that your manpower, your clerks and those in customer service would not need to confront patrons who are not wearing a mask. You would not need to use the manpower, the emotional power, the drain on resources to police wearing a mask.
In case you didn't know, she's live now.
Hey, friends. Hey, everybody. Hey, friends. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I can't hear you, but hopefully we'll get that squared away.
I'm going to grab a mic. We can hear you loud and clear. You can't hear me.
Go, Peggy, go. Go, Peggy.
Hey, friends. Hey, everybody. How's my sound? Can you hear me there? I know I'm calling in.
Yeah!
All right. Maybe you can hear me a little better. I'm losing the sound there, but I'm just going to start talking if that's okay with you guys. What do you think? All right. Maybe somebody can give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me there. All right, because I can't hear you guys, but I'm going to start firing away here because I value you. You right now are doing one of the three most important things that I can think of and that I promote and share at the Healthy American. And right now you are educating yourselves and you are educating others. Being informed on the law, in my view, is one of the most powerful things that you can do, because then you are armed with real ammunition. You are armed with facts. And even though people want to argue with the facts and sweep the facts under the carpet and not abide by the facts, which constitute our law, it is a very powerful position to be in. And when you're educated, you can educate others. I just came from a rally down in San Diego where I spoke about my 3 steps to taking action here at the Healthy American. And being educated is one of those steps. And the other is being connected in community. So you will never hear me say we are all in this together. We are not in it together because each of us has an individual experience. We have had our own individual losses. Some people have had loss in terms of breaking relationships with family members. They've had financial losses, job losses. They may have had to change their geographic location. There have been emotional losses. Each of those experiences is unique, just like you are a unique individual. Yes, we stand shoulder to shoulder, side by side. United we stand to fight against tyranny, this growing tyranny, and to stand for truth and freedom. So connection is very important. Now, the enemy And when I speak of the enemy, I'm speaking about a spiritual enemy as well as tyranny is our enemy. And the forces of the enemy include division. That's why the physical separation, the not being able to see your loved ones, the keeping kids out of school, the not working where you would like to work, all of those are tactics of division. And division and isolation will often weaken the psychological stamina of individuals. So the antidote to division is connection, is being in community. And I applaud you for doing that. Coming together. I wish I could have been there with you, but this is the second best. Another tool of the enemy, and remember, it's a spiritual battle as well as a battle against tyranny. That second tool is deception. That's where confusion sets in. That's why these health orders keep being changed and the so-called mandates are constantly being updated, and the guidelines and the recommendations and the protocol and the policies and the directives. Every time you turn around, there's a new issuance from these so-called public servants, and it's difficult to stay up on all of those changes. The antidote to deception is education. That's where we come together in community, looking at the videos, looking at the laws, sharing information, digging deeper so that you can determine the validity of your sources. And rather than just take the first thing that someone sends you, you look at the source of that information, and you can discern whether that is a valid source or whether it was something that draws more questions. So education is key. And so you've got your community connections, you've got your education, and then action. Action is very important because it helps to overcome despair. And despair is the third tool of the enemy. Despair is what happens when you wake up one day and you say, you know, I am just tired of this battle. I'm going to put on the mask. I'll get my temperature taken. I'll get the vaccine. I'll let them, I'll take the test, because you are just worn down. Psychological despair is a very powerful tool in warfare, and it is intended to literally break you down. How do you stay out of that despair? The first two steps are also powerful. You stay connected with others so you can support each other, rally each other, encourage each other, uplift each other. Very, very important. Number two, again, education. When you keep your intellectual mind engaged by learning and researching and uncovering, it can take you a little bit out of the emotional despair. And then action is one very powerful antidote to despair, because despair can lead to apathy. That can lead to the sense of, I'm going to give up. There's nothing we can do. We're fighting against a powerful foe. And the truth of the matter is, we are fighting against a vanquished foe. Victory is ours. We have read the book. We know the happy ending. But boy, oh boy, what a fight it is. And I say we need all hands on deck. And that means you do and contribute and participate in a way that suits you, that is a complement to your gifts and skills and talents. If you're not someone that wants to make videos and go fight in front of City Hall, that's all right. You may be someone who wants to share a video or write a letter or make a phone call or simply speak to a friend or a neighbor. Have a discussion, open up these issues and start to share them. You might want to leave a postcard on the steps of businesses, letting them know that these are guidelines and they don't need to be followed. There is so many things that can be done, and each person is important. You are essential. Your life is essential. Your goals, your dreams, your hopes, all of that, those things are essential. Don't let any government agent ever tell you differently. The reason I came up with the Healthy American is because I was probably a lot like you. I was shaking my head and looking around for those who could sense that something wasn't quite right here. By what authority does a governor have to tell you that you are not essential, that your job doesn't matter, that you have to stay home? By what authority does a grocery store, which is defined as public accommodation under civil rights law, as are restaurants and hotels and gas stations and other places that serve the public, under what authority do they have to refuse a healthy American from walking into their store in the United States of America to buy food for their family? This is something that I'm not going to stand for, and I know that you're not going to stand for it either. It does not take a violent revolution. What it takes is tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of us as healthy Americans being connected in community, educating ourselves and each other, taking appropriate action that helps to move the cause forward. I saw today that people are protesting outside a grocery store in their conviction and their verve. There is a place for rallies and protests. I personally have never called for violence or protesting on someone's front lawn. There are ways that can be effective, and I'd like to start first with educating law enforcement, educating the lawmakers, who often are lawbreakers, and most of all, educating ourselves, our friends, our families, our neighbors, our loved ones, because truly it will take a movement of healthy Americans across this country to make positive waves of change. I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today, to come to you here from California. I look forward to being with you in person one day. Please join me at thehealthyamerican.org. We have videos, we have action steps, we have a free newsletter. We are connecting with other like-minded patriots across this great country. And so I would love to have you on board as we move ahead and stand against the tyranny and stand and really reclaim our freedom and liberty in this country.
Peggy, thank you. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, everybody. I'm not able to hear, so I think I will bow out for now. Thank you so much. I'm going to wave my goodbyes here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peggy. We love you. Thank you so much.